Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Jimbo, and today we're going to be talking about a test that is actually a highly requested test with these two products. And these two products are the Turtle Wax Ice line, their spray wax, so the Turtle Wax Ice Spray Wax versus the Meguiar's Ceramic Hybrid Wax. Now on the onset you may be saying, wait a second, these are two completely different products. The Meguiar's boasts that it has ceramic technology, while the Turtle Wax is just a simple spray wax. Well, as we've gone through these tests and done multitudes of these videos, we know that the Turtle Wax Ice Spray Wax is a phenomenal product. Really easy to find, and a bottle like this one right here is going to set you back about $6 or $7 at your local auto parts store. Now the interesting part is this bottle here, the Meguiar's ceramic spray wax or hybrid ceramic wax, is also incredibly available at your local auto parts store. So you may see these two on the shelves next to each other and be wondering which one should you get. The Meguiar's one is going to set you back about, I think, that $12 to $14 range, so a little bit more expensive, in fact about double the price. Now the main difference is that the Meguiar's one can be used, in fact the directions say it can be used as a spray on and rinse off. However, I really don't like that method. I feel like you don't get as much out of the product as you do with a spray and wipe in, and that's how we're going to be demoing each one of the products. So we're going to put the Turtle Wax Ice Spray Wax on one side of the panel, and we're going to put the Meguiar's Hybrid Ceramic Wax on the other side of the panel, and then we're going to take it through the torture test. So we're going to beat it up with an iron remover, we're going to beat it up with an all-purpose cleaner, and a couple all-purpose cleaners actually, and then see which one offers you, the consumer, a better bang for your buck. So the next time you're at the auto parts store, or if you're a professional detailer and you need to recommend a product to your client, you know what product is going to fit best for their budget and give them the best bang for their buck. And that's really why we take these products, or I take these products, through a torture test, is so that we know the limitations of the product. Everyone in the comment, or not everyone, but a lot of people in the comments always like to say, well, you're never going to put those harsh chemicals on your paint. Well, you're never going to go through this. You're never going to go through that. These tests aren't real. And then in the next video, I see people washing their cars with something like a boat strip wash. So you do actually use harsh chemicals on your paint. Most people are spraying their rims with an iron remover. That atomizes in the air and falls on your paint. So I think, though it's not the main purpose of these tests, I think if we look at how we maintain cars on a regular basis a little more closely, we'll realize that these tests are much more helpful than we realize. But for me, they're extremely fun, and I feel it's very important to know the limitations and but also the expectations, and also how far you can push a product. So that's what I like to show in these videos. So let's apply it to the panel and then put it through the torture test and see which one is going to outlast it. On the right side here, we're going to apply the Meguiar's ceramic wax. We are going to do a dry application run of it. Actually, let's do this, because I want to try to stay as compliant as possible, or do it as close to what they recommend as possible. I'm going to just wet the surface a little bit, and we'll act like we're doing it dry. So, or we'll act like we're doing the drying method. So there, I wetted the panel. As you can see, it's totally flat. Do a couple sprays, and we will dry the panel. And that way, the reason I wanted to do that is in case there is some truth to it being water activated, or activated with water. I wanted to make sure I had that water on there. So just trying to be as compliant as possible. Very smooth application process. I know this product's been taking a little bit of heat online, and I think that's fair, right? So, but I think it's a decent option. And if we look at the market that it's tended to serve, I think it's a very good, viable option. So on the left-hand side, we will apply the ice spray wax. Apply that there. And then we're going to go right into the torture test, because neither one of these products recommend a cure time. Now, a lot of people have said, oh, well, of course there's a cure time, even if it doesn't say it. You need to have time for it to bond to the surface. Okay. Usually if it needs something, it'll say it, right? Especially something as important as, you know, with ceramic coatings, they say, don't expose it to water for 24 hours. Some coatings, whatever. I'm gonna leave it at that, okay? If they wanted a cure time, they would tell us a cure time on the bottle. So let's look at the initial water beading behavior of it. I was gonna get the blower, but we'll do this. Let's look at the initial water beading behavior of these two products after initial application. So on, hello, threw the hose down. On initial kind of go, I'm getting towards the end of my turtle wax bottle, and I'm wondering if that's messing with, well, I don't think it should be, but. So we can see the Meguiar's has it beat a little bit on the water beading behavior. The turtle wax still offers a great bead and sheeting, kind of a mixture of both, but we can clearly see that the Meguiar's there on the right side has it beat when it comes to the water beading behavior. And we can kind of go back and forth all day long. Is water beading actually good? Is water sheeting better? And I think I've covered that well enough. So there's the initial one. And let's get this water off. Look at how big this bead is right here. That's crazy. Let's get this off and start torturing it. And again, I'm going to use that right there, the how the water comes off, as a judge of if the protection's still there or not. So first up, we have the Eagle 1. This is the triple cleaning iron remover, a very cheap iron remover. So I'm going to use the how well the water is flying off the surface as part of the to tell if it's still there or not. So water beading is great, but no one ever talks about how we judge these products other than water beading. So one thing I'm going to do is invent it and see how fast or how quickly the water is, or how much water is left on the surface after or with the blower. So, and we'll kind of use that as another factor. And then we'll take all that into consideration when we are saying how well or how good or not a product is. So there we go. Let's rinse off the residue here. And we have no kids across the street today, but I am working on a small studio to record these videos at, so that we don't have the studio audience. I know, you all are gonna miss it. I know. All right, so Meguiar's took a little bit of a beating on there. At least the water beating like it was is pretty much gone. But we have the quick evaporation of the water underneath the towel. Again, another factor to see if the product is actually still there and protecting, other than water beads. So even though the water beading behavior has subsided a little bit, we're getting that really rapid rate of not evaporation, but scattering of the water underneath the towel, or after I wipe it with the wet towel. So, and I did get one question, you know, is the surface prepped between applications of waxes? And of course, so it goes through a thorough polish, triple alcohol wipe, and a very, very extensive prep before each one of these tests. This isn't, I'm not mixing chemicals. So let's see if any of that water beading comes back. A little bit of water beading came back, so we don't have the nice tight round beads. The turtle wax actually looks about the same as it did initially. The Meguiar's is much different, much more different in the water beading behavior, but again, I still think that it's still there. Let's see when we hit it with the blower. I'd say it took a little bit of a hit, but nothing substantial. We just lost the hydrophobic properties a little bit, but no big deal. So next up, we have the sealant killer. This is the Optimum Power Clean. Let's see how both these products react to this. And for this one, I'm gonna leave it on the surface a little bit to see if we're getting any bit of a reaction, like we sometimes see where the chemical is trying to fight off the product, or if the product is just kind of sitting and dwelling and working through that chemical. So kind of as it sits here, I'm not really seeing that reaction. A tiny bit right over here, not sure if the camera's picking that up, a little bit of where it seems like the chemical is trying, or the product maybe trying to fight it off. Not really seeing it on the Meguiar's side. You can kind of see it's just kind of flat and it's kind of sitting there. Not really on the turtle wax side either. So let's rub it in and get this off, and I think we're going to have a completely flat panel. Hi-yo. Yeah, put that back up there a little bit. There we go. Have a totally flat panel. All right, now let's rinse this off, and then we will hit it with the wet towel, look at it, assess it, and also hit it with the blower and assess it then as well. So both panels looking pretty, or both sides of the panel rather, looking pretty flat, and there goes the turtle wax, sheeting the water slightly better. The Meguiar's is still sheeting the water as well. Let's hit it with the wet towels. I'm sure we still have some residue on there. So as we see the water evaporation under the towel, it's still there, just not as much, the evaporation. I don't know about the product itself. Why don't you leave a comment in the comments below and let me know where we're at, if you think the product is still there. When we do the wet towel wipe, they essentially look identical. The turtle wax does come in at about half the price of this Meguiar's hybrid ceramic wax. Let's see after the residue is gone where we're at. We're getting any of that hydrophobicness back. Boom, look at that. So kind of like I suspected, the turtle wax evaporating water much quicker. Let's do it again. The Meguiar's side still, I mean, it looks kind of just like what a bare panel looks like, to be honest, on the Meguiar's side, but let's see. So you see that right there, how the turtle wax is sheeting water that much quicker, and there's less water on the panel. Though the Meguiar's side on the right is still evaporating water at a decent rate. Let's hit it with the blower, see where we stand. So it's slight, but you see how the water's still kind of sticking around a little bit, whereas like initially it's right off. Still. So you see how it looks like the turtle wax side has less water on it, and it's kind of lingering around on the Meguiar's side. I don't know, let's hit it with one more chemical. We'll kind of leave it at that, but let me know what you think in the comments below, whether it's still there or not. So we have the Super Clean. This will be the last product we torture it with. And again, the argument keeps getting brought up in the comments of like, these tests aren't accurate. Accurate according to what? According to what you're going to do and subject your car to. But my counter argument to that is, we need to know the limitations of the products that we use and recommend to clients. Everyone on YouTube only talks about how good products are. They don't really ever talk about how bad some are, how much marketing hype are behind others, or what the limitations are. Just what they just spray it on and go, oh my gosh, it beads water, it looks phenomenal. They're not talking about, oh, the evaporation rate on the panel. They're not talking about, oh, with the blower it's still hanging on. None of that. So these are important tests to know the limitations of products, and they're freaking fun, man. This is super fun. And the one argument that no one brings up is, how do you know what's on the road? How do you know what's on the road that you're driving your car on, that stuff is inevitably getting kicked up onto your paintwork? I mean, depending on where you're at, I'm sure a lot of stuff on the road is not that good for your paint. So I think we're going to come to realize that these tests are a little bit more accurate than we all think. That's okay. pretty flat. We are seeing some sort of reaction, but I think that's just residue hanging on the surface. So there. You see when I wipe it like that, how it's not, the water is not evaporating like it once was. Again, just another factor to consider when trying to see if the product is still on the surface or not. Let me wet this a little bit more so we can get an accurate read on that. The turtle wax has a little bit slighter faster. Ugh. Can't even speak English sometimes. How am I supposed to ever learn another language? So there you go. That concludes the torture test. All right, so what did you think? Is the Turtle Wax Ice Spray Wax still the reigning champ? Or did you think that the Meguiar's Ceramic Hybrid Wax kind of held its own? I would love to know what you thought in the comments below. Let me know. Just scroll down to the comment section and write your 2 cents. I'd love to hear your thoughts, feelings, emotions on these two products. When you go to the auto parts store, which one will you be picking up? Which one are you leaning towards a little bit more? Were you disappointed in one? Were you hoping to see a little bit more lasting protection out of one? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, I hope you hit the thumbs up on this video. Hit that subscribe button so you could be the first alerted when I release new videos just like this one. And I will catch you guys on the next episode or the next video. Thanks for watching. See ya.